Okay, great. And now we are officially live. Okay, so normally we are on. I'm just gonna double check that it's working. Oops. Okay, yes, we are live. So first of all, nice to meet you. I have to say that this is the first time that I have an interview with someone that I never met before, neither virtually or neither physically. So thank you very much, Krzysztof, for being with us today.
Thank you for inviting me.
So just to let you know, to let know to our audience that this is the first SEO journey that I'm running. So the idea is to interview some SEO practitioner, SEM practitioner, or any digital marketer who know very well his own market. So by market, I mean country-based market, even if of course we can find some other possibilities. So the first one was with Jean-Marc Courtiade. It was about Switzerland. The second one was about J.J. Brammer about the Netherlands. The third one was about Jim Banks for the United Kingdom. And today I have the chance to be with Krzysztof Marzec in order to discuss about how to perform SEO and let's say maybe more search marketing in general when we are targeting Poland. So for this, I have a set of questions that are already prepared that I sent in advance to Krzysztof. And the idea is actually that we go through all of those questions along this 60-minute maximum interview. So it's currently 2 p.m. The idea is to finish at 3 p.m. And so my name is Ronan Chardonneau. I didn't introduce myself yet to the audience, and I'm a digital marketing passionate and moreover dealing with international issues. So first question for our guest today, Krzysztof, could you please introduce yourself and explain us, let's say, what is your position in regards to SEO and let's say SEM in general?
Yeah, I've started working in SEO and in Google Ads in 2005, and now I'm running my own agency. I was working with lots of clients, like small clients, middle class clients, and the high end. I mean, I worked with the second largest portal in Poland. I set up a SEO team there, and I run this SEO team, and we managed to make great things there. But I then ended this and returned to develop my agency. We work with clients all over Poland and from Europe, and some campaigns all over the world also. We have almost 40 people aboard. And right now, my main focus is to teach, because I'm trainer in SEO and in Google Ads. For example, I make those trainings directly for Google in Google Partners Academy in Poland. And we have some nice things in development. For example, my third book, my colleague, Tomasz Trusło, is in progress. I'm trying to finish it, but pandemic is not helping this because I got lazy lately. So I do a lot of projects, but my main project is agency and trying to control the quality of the service and working with new clients.
Okay, you just said something. I said that there are probably some curiosity question. You already raised one. When you mentioned the second biggest portal in Poland, does it mean like an information portal, or is it more like
information,
a directory portal such as Yahoo or that kind of thing? Or
we have the big three portals in Poland.
Okay.
It's the largest one is Onet.pl, Onet.pl. The second one, which I worked for, is Interia.pl, and the third is Gazeta.pl. But there is much competition between the second and the third. Of course, I forgot about very big portal, WP.pl. So the Interia is on the third place, I'm sorry, and fighting with the Gazeta.pl, and they have a lot of traffic. I mean, if you think about a big homepage in Poland, you have those four sites in mind.
Okay, do you mean like if you are somehow a Polish internet user, when you start your internet journey, you at least visit one of those big four, am I right?
Yes, a lot of people have emails. Of course, the Gmail is the main email account in Poland, but a lot of people have emails on it, on Interia and stuff like this. And they also are like main pages for information for a lot of people. Of course, my generation and younger people, we are using more Google for this and other sites. But if I ask someone who is older than me, they probably start their day with the news on these platforms. And of course, they have a lot of information, smaller services like if you want to see the sport or news, you go to the main page. But some of the gossip sites and stuff like this have their own brand names, but they are part of this big group.
Okay, well, that will be kind of a topic in itself that we could discuss another time, but definitely, well, that's impressive. I'm gonna start with let's say more about the Polish culture, and the next question is about. So I don't know if that's true, but because I never started to study Polish, but this is what most of the people are telling me, that it's a very hard and complicated language. Could you, first of all, is it the case? Is it true that Polish is a very difficult foreign language to start to learn with compared, for example, to English?
I heard that a lot, and I think it's true because we have so many ways to say something. So one word can mean a lot, but the grammar is very hard for people. And when I learned English back in school, it seems very easy for me. It was like super simple. There was no a lot of people have those issues with learning the endings of the words. Like if I go somewhere in English, I say I go, he goes, or she goes, and in Polish it's like ja poszedłem. It's for a male, and if a female says the same thing, ja poszłam, it's different. And a lot of stuff in grammar is very, very hard. Also, our way of speaking is hard. For example, we have this saying wszczep Rzeszynie, chrząszcz brzmi w trzcinie, and it's even hard for Polish people to spell, and it's a lot of this stuff like this. And yes, I heard that it's hard to learn Polish, but I think because of its similarity to other Slavic languages, we have this great opportunity when I meet people from Czech Republic, Ukraine, Russia, Balkans, stuff like this. I can speak with them, not like fluently, but they will understand a lot from me, and a lot of words are similar. So it's cool to have neighbors that can understand you a little, and you don't have to switch to English or some other language.
It comes to me a second curiosity question is from what I can understand is that it's not only about written language which is complicated, it's also about spoken language. Any experience about, I don't know if Google Home, for example, or Alexa is popular in Poland at all, but I just would like to know if, because already in French, I have some strange combination when I'm asking something to the Google Home. Is it like, how is the experience regards to Google search in Poland if Polish is complicated, let's say, in the way it's spoken?
So I recently upgraded my car to Android Auto.
Okay.
And this is my main way of using voice search there, because I don't use a lot of voice search on the phone, only to test some ideas and stuff like this. My kids use a lot of voice commands, but it works, but I hate it. You have to know what they expect you to say. Like it's turn it off in English, and in Polish you have to say the exact words sometimes. And it's changing, it's upgrading, because Google is using, for I think more than a year, they told that they're using neural networks for Polish language in Google Translate, and we saw this upgrade. I mean, you can literally see the change of the quality of translation, and quality of understanding our language. But still, I think we have to teach this AI stuff, how we use language. And I think in a few years it will be great. But I don't, for example, use Alexa at all and other clients because sometimes like my language is not available there. And I did try with Alexa. We have a very specific market, and Amazon was like this legend that they are coming to Poland for a long time, and they came, and I didn't see the difference. I have friends, they see the, but there are some issues in the Polish market. I can explain later that it's not so easy market for example, Amazon, and we are also like on this edge of the markets. For example, for big companies, like we don't get support. For example, in Polish, sometimes not all games are localized in Polish. For example, PlayStation or Xbox, they are working with Polish, but for example, Nintendo, you don't have support for Polish language. And in case of in terms of uh, all the ideas for the market, Google saw us as a big opportunity for them. For example, Poland is exceptional in paying with not with cash, like with credit cards, or we have also our own technology. It's called Blik, and it's like super simple and perfect. You get code on your phone in your app, and you put this code in the second place you want to pay, and it validates your paying. So I can take money from ATM without taking off my card, without even contactless payments. And when we talked with Google about this, they show us some research about this, and they told that we are like leader in region in contactless payments. For example, it's hard to see like place without the terminal for paying with a card, and all young people are using credit cards or debit cards, like in phones, in contactless. So the Google Pay, GPay, is very common for Android users. Also, we have this Bleak, and we were even a starting market to test some features in GPay. So for me it was like, oh, it's super cool that Poland is testing this with 2 or 3 other countries in the world, for example. So it was nice. But sometimes I buy a new thing and there is not even manual in Polish, or it's so badly translated that we have to use the English version sometimes.
Okay. I'm gonna then skip to another question because you raise already some points which are to me very important. You mentioned that Amazon is not present in Poland, and
Yeah, they are present right now. They came to Poland, and they have this big opportunity to collect new stuff that we bought from Amazon in Germany, for example. But we have this very large site. It's called Allegro.pl. This is a site which was starting as a auction site. You could put everything, like sell your stuff, like used stuff, new stuff, everything, and they had this bidding mechanism that people in Poland loved. And they evolved during the years, and now they are like provider for e-commerce. So you can go and buy almost everything there, and the I think the 95 or more percent of stuff there, it's not research, but it's my perception. It's new stuff from e-commerce, from companies. So it evolved to being a marketplace, and also they started this feature. I think it's more than a year ago. It's called Smart, but it's simply something like Amazon Prime. You pay one time and you get free parcels, free shipping, right? So the second large company in Poland, which is very innovative, it's called InPost, and they have these machines. You can pick up your parcel in this machine, and then and there was this very funny situation with our government. They ordered to close the shops for all the Sundays, and you can only have open shop if you are like family owned or something like this. But there was a loophole. If you are a post office or something like post office, you can be open. So the largest convenience store network in Poland became post office front, and it boosted e-commerce like super greatly. And then the COVID came, and the e-commerce got another boost. And I saw people going to a shop not to buy stuff but pick up the parcels. And in Poland, this Allegro is the main beneficiary for this, because the smart parcels are going for free to this InPost paczkomaty. It's like machine you can pick a parcel, and to this convenience store network Żabka. And it's like you there is a lot of more in going on in e-commerce in last 2 or 3 years. But it's like in Poland, I think we have also room for growth, because a lot of people are changing their habits to buy online, and they are not afraid to buy online and stuff like this. It's a big opportunity. So the Allegro is main site for buying stuff, and we are very we are used to it. And when we see, for example, eBay or Amazon, if you ask a Polish person about this site, they will say this is ugly, or usability is very bad, or they don't understand why it's working like this, and the shopping cart is bad and stuff like this. I think they don't really understand our market and try to go like the main package which works everywhere. They're trying to go with it in Poland, and it will be very hard for them to catch up with Allegro, or bypass the Allegro in rankings. And the second site I like to talk about in e-commerce, I don't know if it's working in other countries like this. It's for example semKRK. This is a price comparison machine, and of course we have this in Google in the shopping tab, but like this thing in Google is like super basic, made by a student on a lesson in high school. And this channel is like super old and super good for, like, you can find everything there, and you select the cheapest option. So if I want to buy a new laptop, I always go there, because there is a very big difference between the e-commerces, the sites, the shops. So a lot of people are starting with using Google, trying to buy stuff, and then they check the price in the channel. So it's very hard for e-commerce to have a lot of clients and have a success with bad prices. So they are always like watching their prices because of these site comparisons. And we have a few of them. And some people use Compiet, some people use Knockout.pl, but it's always like this, that we are comparing those prices. And Allegro made some improvements lately. So you go there, you find, for example, the keyboard, and then you click, I want this keyboard in the cheapest way. And you can also buy stuff like this. Show me the company that sell this keyboard and this mouse, for example, in the cheapest way, and they are matching, like they are finding for me a company who sells this cheapest, and I buy it without paying for shipping, so free shipping. And it's like super cool for a consumer, but e-commerces have it very tough to sell something at a higher price.
So if I sum it up, from my understanding, is like Poland is not like sorry for the name, but a protectionism market, which means that they're gonna put some barrier in order for foreign entities to come on the market, but is more like an IT advanced market, which means that you guys, I mean, the Polish market has already a lot of IT players which are doing a great job, which are doing product services which are far better than, let's say, the GAFAM one. That my way of interpreting it. And is that the case? I mean, is it how you see the thing? I mean, did I understood it correctly?
Yeah, we have some categories that we have services or products that are very, very good, and there is simply no reason to change them to a foreign entity. And of course, that's not the issue with every category. For example, when we started seeing Uber in Poland, we also saw Bolt from Estonia and stuff like this. And we also have our like native apps, but they didn't catch up with the big players. Of course, they have some. We have some like Polish companies, but in this case, in taxi business, we lost. Like as a Polish companies, we lost.
Okay.
We have great services because they are fighting with the price, and it got very, very low price to travel in Poland by taxi or by car sharing or stuff like this. And for example, in the taxis we lost, but the car sharing apps, we have 2 or 3 local players, and they are owning it. So this market is very competitive, and it's not like you make another version of your app or your site, and okay, let's do .pl and we will run the market. It's sometimes it's very hard to get to our users, and we have a lot of them. We are a very big country in terms of users, in terms of internet users. So a lot of people want to go to Poland instead of, for example, smaller countries. But it's not always so easy to develop here.
Okay. Thank you very much for sharing all those information. That's really great. So you already answered to the third question, which was about what are the most well-known visited website. It's always, let's say, complicated to say it like this, but the first one you mentioned is Allegro, so it's Allegro.pl, am I right? And the other one is with my French accent, I will say Ceneo.pl, so Ceneo.pl, am I right?
Yeah, they are not the largest because,
Okay.
of course, the largest one is Google and YouTube, and we have this monopoly in Poland. Like when we have the static data from Game News in Poland, the Google was always at 97, 98% of all search traffic. And of course, the YouTube is the largest video site in Poland, but it's also the second largest search engine. All those portals I told you before, they had their own search engine, but I think almost everyone switched to Google. And if you go to onet.pl, you will see that the search engine is enhanced by Google.
Okay.
So in these terms, we have the monopoly of Google. We have like we don't even invest in ads in different search engines, because if you use the same budget, for example, for Bing, you can spend it like in 2 or 3 years instead of 1 month. It's super niche target. We are different than, for example, Russia. They have Yandex. Czech Republic, they have Seznam, and we don't have like anymore because we had on its search engine. It was when I started my work with SEO, I tried to put my clients high in Google and in Onet and in NetSprint. So I had 3 options to fight for, and now it's only Google. No one is even asking about the different search engines in Poland.
Okay. By the way, curiosity question, but are there any advertising platform which are linked to Ceneo or Allegro.pl? I mean,
Yeah,
they have their own
they have
platform, or is it like
yeah
code by
they have
Google?
Allegro ads, and
Okay.
it's incorporated in Allegro, and you pay for being present in Ceneo. In Ceneo, you pay for clicks, so you can easily count your ROAS or CPA later. So it's like it's a native platform, but they also have this system. These Allegro ads and they are rising. I mean, we have a lot of clients there. They are asking about this, and you don't have to have a big e-commerce site because you have everything from Allegro. Like you invest to just get more traffic to your auctions, to your offers.
Okay. Next question is about yes, are there any other markets that we can target with the Polish language? For example, like because in my head, sorry for that, in my head, the only country in the world which is talking Polish is Poland. I don't know if I'm right or not or wrong, but if that's the case, then straight answer. And if that's not the case, well, what are the other markets around the world that you identify as being able to understand Polish or will be legitimate in order to use Polish as a target language?
Yeah, Poland is the only country, but we have a lot of people outside. We call them Polonia. And for example, we have a lot of Polish-speaking people. Like they are descendants from people who traveled to a different country years back. So after the World War II and during the communism era in Poland. So for example, if you target ads in Polish for the whole world, and the Google now in Google Ads uses not only your interface, but they are using that you actually, if you actually read stuff in Polish on the Google Display Network, they will know that you speak Polish, for example.
Okay.
And if you put this ad, you will have people in, for example, USA, in Chicago, or in UK. We have a lot of people, lot of uh, immigrants to UK, and the Brexit was a big issue in Poland and all over the Europe. I mean, in Germany, in Netherlands, and a lot of countries, there are small quantities of Polish people everywhere. But the if you want to just go to our market, the Poland is the only country who will benefit from using our very hard language.
Thank you. So I had the next question, which is about how will you define the IT Polish market in terms of course, technology, but maybe we're gonna skip to the more SEO focused question, which is about how do you feel about the SEO Polish market? Is it like a very advanced market, mature? Everybody knows what SEO is about, or is it like this topic just start to rise with, for example, the news, the fact that we can, of course, create fake news and that kind of thing? How is it like?
So I'm looking from the inside. So for years we have these issues that we are not so good in SEO. A lot of people were telling that like we are not. We should read in English stuff in English to learn about new stuff. But if you go deeper and you talk with the SEO specialist, we are on the world level. Like we have agencies in Poland that are winning competitions. They're doing great campaigns, and the difference is that we do them internally, for example, or in Europe. We forgot the English word for this, but we don't believe in ourselves to go outside. And it's always like this with people in Poland. For example, I always think that my English is bad. And then I go to a conference and I hear that, okay, it's maybe not so bad. It's not perfect, but maybe not so bad. And a lot of Polish companies started to see this. And if you compare our market with different countries, we are, for example, mature company market, and then you can see that we have very high quality of service. For example, our case studies were featured in contests all over the world. I mean, even in Google contests, for example, for EMEA partners, there was a lot of Polish agencies in the finals, and I think that we are on this level that a lot of companies, like big companies, they're hiring own in-house teams now. So I see that some of my friends working with the agency before, now they're working in-house because there is e-commerce. 2 years back, this e-commerce used external agency, and now they are hiring like 5 or 6 or 10 people inside for copywriting, SEO, and stuff like this. So it's evolving, but I think we are on the European world level. And sometimes when I go to a conference and I send my coworkers, uh, I ask, "What did you learn? What new did you learn?" And they said nothing. It was like waste of time, but make me proud that we know this already. So it's cool in terms for our market, and we have those events. For example, we organize our event, and we try to boost the knowledge, try to share the knowledge between the agencies, because we saw the opportunity. If we, as all agencies, if we made a better work for our clients, they will trust us more, and they will understand that investment in SEO, for example, will give them benefit in time, because like 10 years back, it was wild west, and you have a lot of big chance to be, for example, cheated by some kind of agency, because they only showed you that they are working and they're making invoices for you, more often that new links, for example. And now it changed. We don't make like the budget for links also changed. So we have higher budgets. The content marketing is much more appreciated, and the Google Ads scene is like it's supported by Google. We have trainings. We had offline and online trainings before, now only online, but they are investing a lot of time to make sure that Polish specialists are very good. And some of my friends also went to work abroad, and they said that they have no issues with the level of knowledge, and they like worked fine with different environment.
Okay. So I have a SEO focused question. So dealing when it comes to let's say URL, from what I've seen, I've been involved in not that much project in dealing with Poland, but from what I remembered, you have accents on some letters.
Yeah.
And I would like to know if you are tackling them within the URL. So if you are used to have URL with accent, or if you tend to do like some Asian countries, like saying, okay, I'm going to leave all that out and just going to put the name in English, and I'm going to put it within the URL. Or do you have another system? Some Asian countries, as I said in the past, tend to use parameters all the time. How do you tackle this issue dealing with the Polish language within the URL?
Yeah, we don't use our special characters in URLs. Also, we have the opportunity to make domain names with the special characters, and I didn't saw any like, big or even medium company using this. It's like only for some crazy ideas to put something on maybe print, billboards, and stuff like this. We don't use them at all in the URLs. You have to mind them, because you will have to use them in title, H1, heading 1, and stuff like this, but not in URLs. And of course, the .pl ending domains are owning the search engine results pages.
Mhm.
You of course can go with the .com domain or different domain, but for me, it's harder. And when the client is forcing us to use the different domain, we are forcing him to try with .pl domain instead, because it's much more easier for the user perception, for link building, and for the results. For example, I don't know why, but I don't like the .eu domains. I always got the worst results with the same things doing on the site and with the links than on .pl domain. But I think it's like in my head a little.
Okay.
You can use other domains in the Polish SERPs, but it will be easier for getting users to trust your site if you use .pl ending.
From what I remembered in the Polish language, sometimes you have like one letter which is separating the word very often. And do you, first of all, is that the case? And if that's
Yeah.
the case, are you used to strip this letter out because it makes like the URL like straight to the point, or does it mean that if you remove this letter, it changed totally the sense of the sentence? And are you used to keep exactly the URL the way that the sentence you wanted to use?
Yeah, the word E means and.
Okay.
So it's one letter, I, and we scrape this from URLs a lot.
Okay.
And everyone will understand. For example, if you have this category, computers and laptops, we go computery I laptopy. So in URLs we have computery dash laptopy.
Okay.
Something like this.
Thanks. So you mentioned it already. So .pl domain name. Are there any other top level domain name extensions that you are used to see in Poland? For example, in Switzerland, I heard last time with Jean-Marc that you have the .ch, but as well the .swiss. And I wanted to know if as well the .pm is subject to let's say too many people registering it, so you need to open some other spaces.
Yeah, the Polish domains are very cheap. You can have domain the price for around 10 euros a year. And this is a big issue for companies that are starting their businesses. They can't find free domains with the great name. And you can buy them, for example, from which I called domain holders at, for example, aftermarket.pl. There are some places you can buy the used domains, something like this. And we have Google domains also in Poland. It's working. It started working lately. And if you are talking about selecting a domain, you can use, for example, name.pl or, for example, name.com.pl and .net.pl and stuff like this. We have a lot of the endings. Moreover, the largest cities have their own local domains. So you can buy a domain for Warsaw, for Krakow. Not a lot of people are using them because it's easier to type like whole name.pl.
Okay.
But for example, if you want to buy a .krakow.pl domain, you have to go to the company that is like set in another era. Maybe they are listening to this and they will upgrade their system. Like I had to type something in very, very strange form, and I get invoices in mail. I didn't get invoices in email, for example. It was crazy for me because the second, the largest domain provider in Poland, NASK, they have very, very fast systems and a lot of partners. So you can buy domain from those partners at nice prices. And there is a trap in Poland. I don't know if it's working in other countries. If you have .pl domain, for example, your company name .pl, sooner or later you will get a call that your competition is trying to buy .com.pl domain, for example, or .net.pl domain. And because you are owner of this .pl domain, you can buy it first. And this competition is like really your competition. We cannot say which company it is, but they wanted to buy it and we will sell it to them. And it's a scam because they are selling this domain for you like 5 or 10 times more expensive. And they are targeting users that are not familiar with how internet works. And a lot of people bought those domains. My client bought those domains, and they said, we bought this domain in last moment because someone wanted to buy this. And I said, no, it's not like this. It's a scam, and it's going for years in Poland because you have a lot of these different endings, and the people are collecting them. If you have a big business, you don't buy one domain, you buy all the domains with the endings in Poland. Just be sure that no one is messing with you.
Okay, is it are you used to see .com.pl domain name? Because typically that's what we used to see, for example, in Brazil. Or but is it common, for example, in Poland to see some domain name in .com.pl at all? Or
yeah, it's the most common domain is .pl, I don't know the percentage of domain, but it's like someone took your name, so you buy
Okay.
.com.pl, and it's a little cheaper. It's like 4 or 5 euros, something like this. So half the price, or maybe even more. I don't know the prices right now, but if I have to tell you, it's like 5 or even 10 times. The .pl is 10 times more common than com.pl.
Okay, so if we see it somewhere, it means that someone took the PL for us. Okay.
Missed the domain or something like that. Yeah.
I have another question for you, which is not SEO related. It's about so correct me if I'm wrong, but in Poland you are used to, you are using zloty instead of euro. Is it something which to you is a break? I mean, which make foreigners difficulties in order to come to Poland, or is it making for you guys any difficulties in order to purchase to the outside in euro when the website comes in euro? I mean, dealing with Polish consumer, are they ready to purchase from a website if it's in euro, or will they say, okay, I'm not going to purchase? I mean, what are the habits in Poland when it comes to euro currency, for example?
Yeah, for an agency, it's hard to be okay with all the prices all the time. Like we buy stuff in euros all the time and in dollars also, and the currency is shifting a lot, and sometimes you pay for the same thing with the low value of euro, and then a few weeks later or a few months later, everyone in Poland is like, oh no, the euro is super high right now. I don't want to go to European countries for a vacation because it's not so cheap like before. But if you see the charts for euro to PLN to zloty, they are not shifting a lot. It's like it's even more stable than a PLN to the Swiss franc, for example. It was a big issue in Poland because a lot of people took mortgages in Swiss francs. But if you come to Poland, if, for example, to a tourist city like Krakow, you will have you can pay in everywhere using your card, and in some places they have the stickers "We accept euros." The exchange rate is bad, and if you come to Poland, try to not use some big network ATMs because they are trying to get a lot of money from you because the exchange rate is very, very bad. And in Poland we have this it's worldwide, right? Revolut, and a lot of people is using this service. So you have virtual credit card or simple credit card in your phone, and we have also places to exchange money before. For example, if I look at the business which is doing a business abroad, we always have PLN, like zloty account, and account in euros. So to be honest, we are used to it. But I don't know if we ever be able to join Eurozone in this matter, because we have this saying that the printers in our banks are working very hard to print new money, and it's a big issue lately. But I think it's a worldwide issue lately, so we joined the club.
Okay. I have a SEO-oriented question. What pieces of advice could you give to someone who would like to target Poland from, let's say, the outside? So let's say this person is not going to put a foot within Poland. This person is not a Polish speaker, and he or she wants to target Poland by creating a website ending in .pl, for example, and targeting it. What pieces of advice could you give to this person in order to make the first step? Would you tell him or her, okay, those are exactly the same rules that applies within the Google documentation, so just follow them? Or is it something different that you would like to tell him or her, or how should they proceed according to you?
The SEO is the same. You have to learn about some issues in Poland, like the links are more important than abroad. I mean, if I watch the projects that we are doing for example, UK or Germany, the budgets for the links are high, but the numbers of the links which we are collecting for a client is much lower to have great results. I think it's because a lot of companies in Poland are focusing on links, not only on content. So we have a higher number of links needed to be high in results. Like the competition in links is higher. And my main advice is to contact a company from Poland because, for example, I work with Majestic in Poland on Polish market, and they wanted to send some stuff for a conference, and Dixon Jones was present at the conference, and I asked them, okay, you want to send stuff from UK? We can print it right here to skip the shipping, to skip the mess and stuff like this. And I showed them Polish prices for stuff. And they were like, okay, let's do it in Poland, because we are very, maybe it's a good word. We are cheap in terms of making stuff here, and we have very good, for example, developers. So if you want to set up a Polish site from the scratch, you can contact a Polish company, speak in English. They will work with you in English, but the price will be a lot lower. If you contact a Polish company, for example, to buy links or make a content marketing project for you, or do some SEO copywriting, it will be much cheaper than contacting some Polish speaking specialist abroad. And for example, translation is super cheap if you go with it to a Poland. Then, for example, you search for a Polish translator in London or in Berlin. So you can find using Google. You can find company that will do a great job in Poland, will give you great prices, and will speak in your language. For example, the popular English is very popular in Poland because we have this in high school. Sorry, in school and high school and stuff like this. But a lot of people know Spanish. Some people like French, because in high school in Poland you have to choose the second language, and the majority of young people are using can speak very fluent in English and can speak like we say a little in the second language also. So you can focus on doing your job, and this localization for a Polish market, you can outsource it in Poland. And the last thing is you can use local companies like SEO companies to do consulting for you. Of course, you have to find a company that is like fluent in working with international clients, but it also will be cheap because we sometimes when we work with the clients abroad, we win with the price, and then we win their heart with the result. So the price is very nice to start with, and then we show them great results. And last thing, I think you have to ask a local about the keywords, because we don't use translators for keywords. Even if I try to make, for example, some campaign in France, I won't be using a translator because the keywords will be not used like a native speaker, right? So I always like to put a native speaker in the language, for example, Polish speaking person, with someone who knows how to use, for example, Google keyword tool. And when they work together, they will have better results in finding keywords for a campaign and for copywriting stuff, and also links. Yeah, we have platforms for links. You can go the easy way, contact 2 or 3 of them, or you can go the hard way to contact directly with the sites. And if you contact the platforms, I think they will work with you in English. But if you try to contact the sites directly, they will treat incoming English mails like spam, because the majority of mail which is coming to a Polish person, which is in English, it's probably spam. So they don't answer some of the researchers, And if we have these people asking us for links exchange and stuff like this, I like to talk with them. Do you have difficulty to get links from Poland? And they said yes, very big difficulty, because people are not answering my emails, and I even don't get a lot of hate mail like in other countries. They like stop spamming me. In Poland, they just don't answer this, and it goes straight to spam.
I have a curiosity question to ask, and feel free to not answer if you think that it's kind of too personal or too secret. But when, let's say, a foreigner company, if it happens, contact to you guys and want to do SEO, probably the guy you're going to put in charge of this project, they don't know the product and service of the foreigner. How do you tackle this issue of them understanding what this product and service is about? Do you ask, for example, to see the product for real? Do you ask them to have interviews with the company in order to really understand what is this new service, let's say, that they have and that they want to, let's say, export to Poland? How do you tackle this issue? Because I remember that when I was a SEO practitioner in agency many years ago, I had to go to the client directly. For example, if it was a real estate agency, I hated at that time real estate, so I had to pick up all the documentation in order. In France, for example, real estate is important in terms of investing, in order to make money out of it, in order to get a rent from another person, and they had to study all the documentation of the law in order to understand what are the benefits of this real estate agency and that kind of thing. And I would like to know, how do you tackle this issue, because you are physically working remotely with this client?
Yeah.
How does it work?
2 words, like extensive research or the brief. We try to ask a lot of questions because we know that all the specialists are specialists in SEO or in Google Ads or other platforms. But if I have to sell shoes, for example, it's for me, it's like, okay, so I take this part from all the e-commerces I know, and I try to learn how to sell shoes, like what keywords are working, and it's like basic campaign for me. But sometimes there is a client that needs to explain the product and service, for example, and it's the same stuff with Polish market, like Polish clients or international clients. They have to explain us what they want to achieve. So we ask about the competition. We ask about the upsides and downsides of this business. For example, what is the main issue with them? Why people are not trusting them? They say, well, people are trusting us. And no. We have to find the worst client. He's very, very upset with you. What happened? And we ask a lot of those questions just to learn, because it's not like the SEM is different from the marketing at all. It's a part of marketing, but we have to learn what is the product, what is the service. And I try to encourage my coworkers to like tell people in our sales department what do they like or don't like in terms of categories. So for example, if you came to me with automotive business, I have some specialists that love cars, and it's much easier to talk with them about, for example, selling cars and stuff like this. I have some people that are great in terms of e-commerces or in some other niches. But if you came to me with, for example, agricultural business with some parts for machines, I'm like, okay, I don't know this business, but I will learn and adapt. And it's not like you cannot do it like this. Okay, make this campaign for me. We have to have a connection in the company, like some marketer, which is using a different media, and we are only like one extension. We are SEO, so I'm talking with him about keywords, about copywriting, about targeting, about these personas, how to market them. And I asked them, okay, do you have the same campaign, for example, in Germany? Okay, so what is working for you there? We will try this in Poland. We are not similar markets. But if we know what's working in Germany or in UK or in Spain or France, we can try to learn the differences and try to like improve this campaign. I think there is a big issue about sharing internal data in companies. For example, I always ask my coworkers to ask the client, you gave us, for example, SEO campaign to do, and I ask who is making a Google Ads campaign for you, because I wanted to talk with this person and ask about keywords, ask about performance, to learn what I should use in my SEO campaign. And if I do Google Ads campaign, and for some reasons client want to do SEO campaign with some other people, I always say, okay, get them to me, because I will tell them which keywords perform the best and make some synergy between this. And it works with LinkedIn ads, with Facebook ads, because we can learn what is the profile of the person who is buying our stuff. And if we learn this in Facebook and use it in Google Display Network, it works for clients. So if they have a campaign for 5 years in Google Display Network and they told me that they will have campaign in Facebook ads, I said, okay, give this person number to me, because I will tell them what is working to just start testing. Because of course Facebook is a different platform than Google Display Network, but if I tell them that those products are not selling at all for us in GDN, so they will have a hard way to sell them also in Facebook. They will be prepared for this.
Okay. We have only 4 minutes left, so I'm looking at all the question in order to pick up just the last one. Okay. So I still have many, but I will say, okay, I have to. Let's cross our finger to make it in 4 minutes. Straight answer. What is the best language in order to use an online translator to get some content translated in the best way in Polish? Is it from English to Polish? Is it from Russian to Polish? Is it from Czech to Polish?
I think in Google Translator it's English to Polish.
Okay.
And we had some funny story with this. We translated a whole article with Google Translator and sent to our partner in UK, and they asked us about this company who translated this for us, because they are better than their company in UK, based in UK. And I said, it's Google Translator, and it's very, very good in translating stuff to Poland. Of course, you have to proofread it, but it's helping a lot.
Okay. And yeah, I have 3 minutes left. I would like, of course, to give you the possibility to say a couple of things to our audience. What are the different obligations that a webmaster need to fulfill in order to build up a website in Poland? Because, of course, as a foreigner, when we build up a website, we don't, sorry for the word, but we don't care about the legislation, whereas we should. And are there any? Even if it's a mere simple page, 500 words, just one page, I put it there. I want to know, are there any obligation that I need to fulfill?
Yeah, I think the only thing you have to make care is GDPR.
Okay.
So you have to give this info about cookies and privacy. So the users should have option to choose, but it's only this, I think.
Okay. It's currently 2:58. I would like to know if you had anything that you would like to share with our audience.
Yeah, if you want to come to Poland with your business, I think you will find a great specialist here. So don't, for example, think that the Poland is like very hard to get business here because of the difference in payments, difference in currency, difference in language. We as a nation are very open. We travel a lot before COVID, of course, and I think a lot of companies tried this before, came to Poland and made great success. And I think it's the more than 30 million people are great market and great opportunity. So even if the Google marketing tools don't tell you that the Poland is a great opportunity for you, you can order just some keyword analysis, or you go to a keyword planner tool in Google Ads, and you will see that we have a lot of volume for e-commerces, for a lot of queries. And this is a big market, and a lot of people are spending money online. They are used to spending money online, and they like new stuff. They like stuff which is unique, of course, and it's a great opportunity for a lot of businesses here.
Thank you so much, Krzysztof. It's right 3 p.m. Thank you so much for sharing with us all this information. I will leave, of course, the first name, family name of Krzysztof within the description of YouTube, so you can easily Google him, find his LinkedIn profile or his company, and of course, get in contact with him if you would like to make business in Poland or anywhere else, I guess. Once more, thank you very much, Krzysztof, for your time, and thank you very much to our audience who once more watched this SEO journey. The next one normally will be about SEO in Russia. Thank you very much.
Thank you for this.